Hello, my name is Damila Mike David, and I'm one of the team members of Teaching and Counseling Department of Applied Praise Ministry International. And today we'll be talking about networking for good. And today, before I move forward, I would like to share with us the objective of the Teaching and Counseling Department of Applied Praise Ministry International, which says to remarkably empower the church workers and membership through our counseling initiatives, enable them to rightly divide the word of truth in any personal, interpersonal, spiritual, doctrinal, social, or career matters that may confront them from time to time. Without further ado, let's go into our topic today, which says networking for good. The first one we'll be looking at right now is networking, literally the literal definition, which I got from careereducation.columbia.edu, which says it is the process of making connections and building relationships. These connections can provide you with advice, contacts, which can help you make informed career decisions. Networking can even help you find unadvertised jobs and internships. Networking can take place in a group or one-on-one setting. So that's just the definition of networking. When you're able to put yourself into an environment or into a group, within a group of people that are able to influence your life positively in every sphere that is important to you, be it physical, career, be it spiritual, or any other department or any other part of your life that you might think of. And now, let us look at it from the divine word. What is network? And from here, we'll be looking at the social media for Christian. So networking or social media networking is a platform to deliver our morality, our spirituality, message of life, help, or hope to the world with the most imaginable speed and reach possible. Mark chapter 16 verse 15, that is a good Bible reference to use, and it said to them, "Go ye into the world and preach the gospel to the whole creation." So some examples of the tools to reach the whole world are inventions such as aeroplanes, social media mechanisms, or multimedia. And we have this perception that not all things are changing, but back in the days, people used to think that social media, computer as a whole, used to be an invention of the devil to destroy the world. But we know that every knowledge comes from God, and this knowledge, God has deposited it in each individual to make life better for us. And that's why I gave examples of aeroplane, social media mechanisms. How do these things apply? For example, the Bible is saying to us in the book of Mark chapter 16 verse 15 that we should reach out to the whole world. How do you get to the whole world if we didn't have an invention such as aeroplane, and you want to, I guess Papa is still in the United States of America right now, preaching, doing the work of the master. How would Papa have gotten to the United States of America if there was no invention such as aeroplane to take him there? That's to tell you how these inventions can be very useful even as a child of God. Look at so many people right now doing the work of evangelism on the social media. Many people used to think that Facebook, Twitter, Instagram used to be for ungodly people, unserious youths. But we can now see a lot of our mommies and daddies. My dad is always on Facebook now, preaching, singing. I can see Mama also preaching, coordinating prayer programs on Facebook. You see, because you have the tendency of achieving more with these tools. We can see examples in the Bible. Luke chapter 19 verse 28 to 40 tells us about how Jesus Christ entered into the temple. Jesus Christ had that triumphant entry into the temple, and he used Jesus Christ had to write. And there's a kind of interpretation I'm trying to derive from this. Number one, using that right is going to make that movement faster. Jesus Christ wouldn't get tired easily, humanly, as God in man at that particular time in human form, and it will make that movement easy. Just as I gave an example of aeroplane, you want to travel to, you go and preach in Ghana and you're in Nigeria, but you need a means of transportation that will get you there. And we can see from the book of Luke chapter 5, Jesus Christ had to borrow the ark of Peter to preach. Peter's boat, Jesus Christ borrowed it, and he used it because there was a lot of crowd, and Jesus Christ needed a platform to separate Jesus from the crowd, and at the same time to give Jesus Christ a kind of elevation, just the same way we have our altar and pulpit in the church, because sound can always travel better when it's coming from the top. Why network in Christianity? So why do we need to network? Why do we need to get into networking as a Christian? Number one, it gives you a broader view of life, career, or religion. I'm going to give an example of a particular denomination. Like, so now when you network, maybe directly with someone, or you are exposed, you have the opportunity to get to other parts of the world. It gives you a broader insight on how things are done. Sometimes we're stuck with our ideology, not necessarily because we have a real solid proof or a biblical backup for those things, just what we've been taught in the past, and we don't want to depart from them. We are stuck with those things. But when we have exposures that networking can expose us to, either physical networking, either networking on the social media platform, it makes you to understand better, see things from other perspectives. For example, there's a denomination that used to believe that watching TV was sinful because TV was interpreted to be a box for the devil. But along the line, that particular church right now is everywhere. They are now using cable because they've been exposed, and because they are now exposed, and they see that this thing can be used judiciously, can be used even to the glory of God. That is one thing that networking can help you do. So when you mix with other people that have more knowledge in the things you do, they will be able to advise you better. Getting onto social media will introduce you to a lot of write-ups, a lot of videos. We expand your ideology. It can help you to open up your ideology, and you will see that, oh, this is the way I'm doing things right here. That's not the way those things are done over there or done in other parts of the world. I think I should try and explore and be open. It's an opportunity to inject the world with godliness by using the tool rightly. As I said this initially when I gave example of how Jesus Christ used the boat of Peter and Jesus Christ riding into the temple. Using social media mechanisms such as Facebook, for example, can also be a useful tool in the church. We can see that churches are already absorbing this by doing live streaming. We can see a lot of people that are recording videos on Facebook, on YouTube, on different social media mechanisms. When we use them rightly, it is also a way to inject the world with godliness. We want the whole world to know. Yeah, we may not be able to cover so much other than our community. You live in Jack on the estate, and that you can only reach out to the people around you. But with this tool, you can easily go far. When you post a video or you go live, you can reach out to a lot of people to access the benefits available in the Christian communities. You know, there are a lot of community or benefits that are available to Christians, to churches, to missionaries, but we don't know. Like church support, when you go to heartcrymissionary.com, when you go to Billy Graham's website, when you go to www.loveincorporated, that's loveinc.org, these are some of organizations that can even help churches, help Christians, help missions, help NGOs. They can fund you with support of people, with support of finance, with whatever support. But sometimes, how do you get to know these people when you don't go out there? Sometimes you need to search them out on your social media, follow them, appreciate what they're doing, place comments on what they're writing, respond to what they're doing, react, we share their posts. And when they recognize you, by the time you even seek them for help, they will also reach out to you because they will see you as assets. They will see you as a follower, not somebody who's just trying to take advantage. Evangelically, it's a way to reach more with minimal effort. I've given us examples above, but we can also look at tools like Mixeloud, for example. That is a tool that people use to broadcast audio. A lot of people know that, and the advantage of that is it consumes less data because it is audio. Number two, you don't need to turn on your screen. You can you can upload a lot of audio, your messages, prayers. People can join in conference. These are tools that even the church can use, and it's a networking tool. It helps the church to reach out, because once you're reaching out to people, you're connecting to new people, you're networking, and these tools help you with that. Access Christian resources more conveniently. You can, as a child of God who's trying to grow, these mechanisms can help you to network yourself with companies that know you directly or do not know you directly, but they're producing materials that as a Christian you can use to develop yourself better. For example, I gave an example here, dramatized Bible. Dramatized Bible is something that you might want to look at, which is very good, especially you're someone who's always on the go. I know many of us are used to, we know about audio Bible, but when you listen to dramatized Bible, it gives you a better insight of what the Bible is talking about, because each person talking is being represented by a different character, and it will be like, oh, you are in that particular scene when that thing was happening. Because when Jesus Christ is talking, somebody else talks like Jesus, and somebody else talks like Peter, somebody else talks like John. It gives you that feeling like you're watching a movie, and it gives you better understanding. You're not just reading, but you're absorbing and understanding. So you can go to YouTube and search for dramatized Bible. You can go to faithwriters.com. Or articles.faithwriters.com. These are places where you can download articles. You can also, if you're someone who like to write a lot, you want to reach out to the old world, you are writing but you don't have the platform. This is a platform that you can post your content, your message, your whatever that you are doing, as long as it is for God. You can post those things and to be broadcasted for you free of charge. They have a very large audience, and you can use that platform. faithwriters.com, questiongod.com, biblesfree.org. These are platforms that can be useful to you. What makes networking seem unchristian? For some people that have always said in the past that networking is not for children of God. What are the things that some as much as people have discriminated this wrongly, some have seen things that make it look like, oh, this social media thing, if that's what I want to use to build my network, let me just let it go. It is because, number one, abuse of Christian brotherhood and grace. Many Christians are more comfortable doing businesses with non-Christians, and it is something that we've seen over time. People will tell you that I prefer to do business with a Muslim than do business with a fellow Christian, because some Christians, because they know that, oh, you're a pastor, okay, if you pay me to deliver a service and I don't deliver that service, if you're a pastor, you will not do anything to me. And if you try to make a move, maybe legally, or you try to enforce, they will say, but you call yourself a pastor. But you are not doing the right thing. You're not being sincere. You're not being faithful. You're not being honest. You're not being responsible. But they want to use the yardstick of being a Christian by name, to inconvenience someone else just because he's a fellow Christian. And because of that, many people don't want to relate with other Christians. Like, what? Well, we can sing in church, we can sing, we can laugh together, but when it comes to my money, I don't deal with Christians. I prefer to deal with this other tribe, this other religion, because they are more faithful. Criticism in place of correction. Social media correction among pastors. You can see what is going on now that is in vogue. It's more like many pastors now, the message, the ministry God has given to them is to extract another person's message, another pastor's message, and criticize it. So many people now on social media, they are not listening to God to get their own message. They're just looking for somebody who has preached and posted it online, and all they want to do is extract it and condemn it. You can see all the drama that is going on between Pastor A and Pastor B. I'm not going to mention anybody's name. But is this what God has sent us to do? If all we are doing is to what? Criticize what this person has said, not correct. If you want to correct, that's not when you now go to social media and do that. So people prefer to criticize than correct. 3, preference to see failure than celebrating success. People rather prefer to read about failed marriages, beliefs online, or so that they can contribute to them. They can see a post they can engage with, so as to justify their statistic that marriage is a scam, marriage can never work. See, people can never be faithful in this life. And what do they want to do? They want to prove this point by looking for marriages that fail on social media. Oh, this actor and this actress, they have divorced. I know they can never stay long. How can they marry for 2 years? They can never stay more than 6 months. This is what people want to see on social media. And because this is injecting this pollution into the heart of people, some people rather say, if this is social media is what I want to connect with or build my network, I'm not interested in doing that, because it has given people, a very bad experience. Fraud access point. Social media has become a means to defraud a lot of people. A lot of people have gone into depression. Some people have committed suicide. Some people have gone bankrupted because they've been duped on social media. Now spamming happens on social media. People always calling. People want to hack other people's WhatsApp so that they can use it to siphon money from their contacts. People want to, want to hack people's social media accounts, email. These are things that people are doing. You see youths going into fraudulent activities. They will be chatting with someone. A man is chatting with another man, but will be using artificial intelligence to push the picture of a woman forward, voice of a woman, And these are the things that have made people to think like, oh, if this is what social media will do, I'm not ready to connect. I'm not ready to build my network. Immoral display and allowances. How social media has allowed immorality to travel, Interview, when you scroll 2 or 3 things, you see young people, ladies and guys in their teens doing interview. what's the widest thing you have ever done? And somebody will say, I have sex with my younger brother. You know, those kind of things. Those are the things that are now going on social media, true or dare. Truth or dare, rather. People will be given very insane tasks that can you go outside and if you mix this question, you have to, as a woman, you open up your clothes and show us your private parts, or you go outside. If you want to win 20,000, go and have your back naked for 30 seconds outside. And our youth are rushing into this, or because they want to make money. You know, these are the reasons why people feel social media networking is not Christ-like, is not a Christian kind of a thing. And you know, all this kind of homosexuality that is not in line with, you know, how God has designed human beings to coexist. And but again against all those old, that doesn't mean that we are not still going to use a social media network or whatever network is available to us. So now let us go into this networking and consideration as a Christian. If you're a Christian, how are you expected to use social media network or every other networking tools around you? Do not reshare unhelpful or odd content because you want people to know about this oddness. You are only increasing its reach. Or there is a particular post that is not good, but because you want people to be aware, you now reshare that post. You are increasing its reach and you are helping the person who originally uploaded that content to achieve his purpose. If you need to talk to us about it, talk to us about it. See what's going on social media. People are doing this. You don't need to share it again, because the best way to kill those kind of posts is never to engage them, is never to share them. Because you want to pass a good message across doesn't mean you need to share bad content. Understanding when to interact with difficult individuals. Proverbs chapter 2, verse 26, verse 45. It says, Proverbs tell us to avoid becoming like fools ourselves and to answer wisely according to his foolishness. Reprimand a fool for his ignorance, lest he thinks of himself alone. That's what the book of Proverbs chapter 26 says. So, which means there are some interactions you don't need to engage with. When you give audience to a particular conversation, especially on social media, that is when it gains attention. Some conversations you don't need to even give it chances at all. Set a boundary with those known for controversies or unhelpful information. The book of Titus chapter 3 can help us with that. Don't follow someone who has a pattern of unhealthy or unhelpful behavior on social media. You know, and a lot of people have already known them, that this kind of a person, this is the kind of content they post, this is the kind of things they say. If you know that this person don't really make good sense, this person, whatever he posts or whatever he says does not edify me spiritually, doesn't build me logically, psychologically, don't even follow those kind of people at all. Don't even try to correct them that, what did you post? Just let it be. Don't follow, because one day you will be forced to either react negatively and you become a fool such as a person, or in the process of trying to correct in love, you draw attention. Some people will take it for good and some people will take it for bad. Some people will still see that wrong content and share. You see a lot of things. Somebody will just say something on social media that is very, very bad, and you will still see someone will say, oh, my brother, be yourself. Don't mind what people are saying. You only have one life to live. So because of that, don't even engage these people. Set a very huge boundary with them. As a child of God, what are the things that we should try and avoid on social media, or when we're trying to build a network? Number one, don't support or encourage ungodly behavior. Ephesians chapter 5, verse 6 to 11. Find out what God's word teaches about our culture's hot button topics before you align yourself with any current event or trending issues. Before you jump on any trending issues, any trending dance, any discussion, first of all, put it side by side with the word of God and just oppose it. What is the word of God saying about this? So before you either join that trend, join that challenge, or whatever, make sure you don't join in encouraging ungodly behaviors. Don't post anything that is likely to start an argument. 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 23 to 24. Think about potential results before you post. Avoid needless arguments by steering clear out of politics and other combustible topics. Don't antagonize or alienate. So what you need to be sure of is, when it comes to some sensitive discussion like politics, like religion comparison, there are not things you might want to take to social media. If you want to go to social media, just say something that is going to help somebody, maybe just a normal write-up and information that will help somebody's career, something about information technology, or you go right there, Talk about God and preach. Don't go and argue between religion. Don't go and argue politics. Things that are unnecessarily going to cause argument. Try and stay clear of those things. Don't talk negatively about the church or other Christians. Don't do that. We can see this from the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 6 verse 1 to 6. We may not be able to read these things because of time. Don't air the church argument or dirty laundry in public. This conversation should take place within the context of the church. Discussions about this should just be discussed in the church. When you see somebody talking about one pastor, you are now also commenting, yeah, that's how they do. End time pastors. Don't do that. Don't do that. You don't need to, just let it go. And you don't need to raise this kind of conversation. I saw a pastor that is, doing this and that. No, social media is not the best place to, hear this kind of conversation, because many people will get your point and some people will not even get it. And at the end, you would rather do more bad than doing good. Don't argue with other Christians. Romans chapter 14 verse 1, we aren't likely to solve any Christian debate like that between pre or post millennials or roles of women in the ministry. This public argument only highlight division in the church. Save the discussion for church context. Why we keep saying church context is because it is a setting that is coordinated and escalation is very, very unlikely. Unlike somebody can just take it out of context, you're discussing about women in ministry and somebody can take it as a gender bias. That say you're just being gender biased. Somebody can say you're just trying to be unfair. Somebody can even start using curse words, and you won't end up achieving your point. And in that kind of setting, you don't have a spiritual figure, a mature figure that can help you to, at the end of the whole discussion and give you a summary. But in church, you have pastors that will help you to streamline things and eventually guide when there's a confusion. So these kind of discussions are not meant to be heard on social media, especially in our networks on social media platform. So lastly, as a round off, let's just see, as a Christian, what should we do? Why Christians should network? Number one, to glorify Jesus. 1 Corinthians chapter 10 verse 31. The world is a dark place and we need to become light. As much as the world is being corrupted by those things that are going on using those fast tools, social media network or whatever, we can still become the light. When we have 1,000, 1 million Christians that can go to social media and become light, before you know it, the light will gradually chase away the darkness. If potentially divisive conversations for real life, have believer conversations within the church, not in public. We've said this before and I don't want to dwell much on that. Do play by social media rules. Yeah, before you join a social media application like Facebook, most of the time before we sign up, there is always rules and regulation. We just accept. I know those things are so long. We just scroll down from the top to the bottom, we check the box, I accept, and we accept. But we don't read those rules. Even as a Christian, don't say because this application, my Father in heaven that created heaven and earth gave this knowledge, I need to use it now. No. You need to follow these rules. It is better you are being kicked out of social media or Facebook for preaching the gospel, for talking about Jesus, than for you to be kicked out for breaking their rules. So make sure any tool you are using, you are following the rules. The Bible also tells us that we should obey every law and regulation of the land. You can use Romans chapter 13 verse 1 to 7 as a guide for this. We are supposed to be good examples in every aspect of our lives. Do verify anything you post or share. Colossians chapter 3 verse 9. Check the truthfulness of any information you want to post or you want to share. Just because you say, this is touching and you share. No, verify it. Check if it can be found on several reliable sources. Do try to add value. Philippians chapter 2 verse 2 to 4. Be encouraging to all. Give far more than you ask. Spiritual memes can be encouraging. All those pictures that are talking about God, screenshot of a Bible passage, add Christian music, cut a very short music video that is talking about God that can encourage somebody. Somebody might be waking up down that day and you see that meme or that musical video giving a person a particular message across, can just, rekindle and bring that person back to life. You understand? Think of ways you can provide practical help and direction. This is what we call practical and responsible Christianity. For instance, you can say, I lead a daily Bible reading group for women on Facebook. You can do that and start preaching. You can say, I want to start sharing one scripture per day or I want to look for cartoons that are dramatically talking about a particular person in the Bible. This can even make it more interesting. For example, for children, it can make it easy for them to have a grasp of what the Bible is saying, when they visualize it. These are the ways we can make a judicious use of our networking, or making good use of our social media networking. I hope with this we've been able to learn one of few things, or two few things, and I believe that going forward we are going to make a better use of our social media environment. Thank you, and God bless you. Bye.